to the number. To go. Okay, good evening, viewers, and good evening, my panelists. This is the platform, your program that is here to talk about women and their engagement in governance. Tonight, we are having a very interesting topic, and that is the role of media in promoting women's leadership. I'm joined by four powerful women, Ruth Kangwa, Madam Savoy Imboina, and Madam Ruth Dante. To kick it off, we are all aware that the media plays a very huge role when it comes to promoting gender equality, representation, and especially that now the issue of equality is becoming a very important issue globally. Zambia is heading towards its general elections 3 months from now, and we know that the media is a key player in who is going to be seen and what is going to be said about those individuals. Currently, we have seen in the past years about how there has been little coverage when it comes to women and their participation in governance. Now, this is not a Zambian problem, it's a global problem. A research that was carried out in Latin America actually showed that when it comes to elections and females media coverage, it's only about 24% of the females that are covered, which shows that it's a very common problem. We see this problem also being talked about in the recent past United States general elections, where there was a bit of fracas when it came to media coverage and how much the females were being covered. Now, understanding that media is a very important part of our democratic process, we know that we have to see that gender equality is also put at the core when it also comes to media, especially for Zambia having its general elections in 3 months. How is the performance of the media, and what do we hope to see? Ladies, you are welcome. Joining me is Ruth Kangwa, a youth, a member of Youth for Parliament, Madam Savoy Imboela, the current acting president of the NDC and the media director of the UPND. Ladies, you are welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so to start our conversation, I'll start the first question with Madam Ruth Dante, and I'm particularly selecting her because I understand the role that she has in the political party, and it happens to be our focus of discussion today, which is media. Madam, I would just want to hear from you, from your observation as a country. How has been the media coverage of women so far, especially when it comes to their involvement in governance? Madam, can you hear us?
Her mic is still muted.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Did you get the question?
Okay. Yes, I got the question. So I was busy looking at Ruth. I didn't realize there are two of us, which makes it a good. Yeah, I was saying that. I was saying that first of all, I really would want to thank you so much for this platform, and I think it is such kind of platform actually answer to help us actually increase the number of coverage to women. So thank you so much. Now, as regards to media coverage towards women, I'm happy, Mumbi, that you mentioned that I'm going to answer any relationship to my position and as a person that is in politics. Now, what I see is that today we see a lot of effort being made by media houses, and I'm talking about I am talking about electronic and the newspaper. If you look if you check in Daily Mail and Times of Zambia, you realize that in a week there is a page where they write about women candidates, who they are, their background, what they stand for, and why they are contesting, and at the end of the day, what they would want to achieve. And you realize that when you read their articles, especially in print media, you find that they are able to express themselves fully without any distortion. Please mark my words. Without any distortion. So when you read the story, you exactly understand why it is very important to bring out. I mean, to have a lot of women participate in politics. You realize that their voice is missing, and you realize that we need more women. Then when you come to electronic, there are many times that I find that there is a difference between media coverage of electronic and print. I don't know whether it's because you are face to face with a journalist. Sorry to say that. Actually, I find that when it is a woman, they look for more. They want to look at how am I looking? So we find media portraying men and women in different ways. Women are portrayed to suggest, is she beautiful? Is she powerful? What, well, by the way, is she married? Okay, so I find a bit of sexism in the manner that media sometimes covers women. Hillary Clinton, for example, she was called Clinton Grandma. Let's look at our vice president, Madam Inonga Wina. Why are we referring to her as Gogo? Why are we asking her to retire? Now, these are some of the things that sometimes media portray, and I'm concerned about that, and that is why I'm saying that maybe to try to defeat that, we need more platforms where when they are looking at me as Ruth Dante, they should look at me as Ruth Dante. Not, is she married? Is she beautiful? Is she old? No. So immediately that perception comes in, we find that even what I want to say is taken. So I think that is my observation. But I want to say that I'm happy so far that we are seeing a lot of efforts from our colleagues journalists, especially female journalists. And this is where I'm seeing sometimes the media trying to put on a gender lens and wanting to reduce the gender inequalities that we face, especially with women participating in politics.
Thank you very much, Madam Ruth Dante. Quite an insight, and it's already touching on some of the vital issues that we talk about when we start talking about portraying women and the media, and especially that it's an election year and what the media demands from women as well. I will allow the same question to be answered by Ruth. Seeing that you are a young person entering the space of politics, and as we can see, the political ground is very hot. And the more we talk about the inclusion of women, the more women are required to exculpate themselves many times about many issues which were highlighted by Ruth that day. What can we take from you when it comes to how women have been viewed so far when it comes to leadership?
I'll start first. Believe that media is a very influential platform, be it the traditional form of media, which is through news, print, or radio and TV. But now we've seen in the modern times that we have social media, which has played a very big impact in the role of promoting women. But unfortunately, I will have to state that the media has continued to be notorious and historically treats women different from men. More especially that you are a woman who is entering or is in the political party or political structure, or you hold a particular leadership position, you are viewed not with a normal lens of a camera, but yours is more zoomed, like Madam Ruth Dante had mentioned. You know, it has become even more complex for women because you are judged even more. You've got more weight on you for being a woman in the public eye. Like she had mentioned with Hillary Clinton, you know, you go back as far as before her announcing her candidature to stand for the top job presidency, you see that even in the back, when she was still a first lady, she had the negative limelight around her in which she was portrayed by the media as not being first lady material like, and it continued even throughout the presidency. So I will say that with social media that has also altered the communications and included politics now. You know, we can't sever the ties anymore between politics and social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've begun to see that the manner in which they're transformed and women being on these platforms has opened up more negative for them than positive, because you find that they are victims of insults, threats, cyber violence, cyber bullying. We can always even use our example of people looking at the Patriotic Front candidate, that Iris Kaingo, and you see how many comments or the kind of comments that she received as a woman to stand. And such things, for me, it says we'll still have some time to change our mindset. And the media has a very big role to play in changing the narrative, especially in an African system where we come from cultures which have got patriarchal systems that still think women should be in the kitchen. I think I'll stop there for now.
Okay, amazing contribution from Ruth there, and I also like the fact that you had to highlight some of the challenges that not just women in general, but also that the young women are facing, and to see that at least we're having a bit of an increased number of the number of young women that are joining politics now. It's good to see, and how we can try and influence the media on how they're going to report about these women, and how we're going to see that the women are encouraged by how the media is portraying the picture of women. Madam Sawoi, the acting president of the NDC, I'll mock you and I'll call you Your Excellency. You are holding a very powerful position right now, not because you are a female, but because you are heading a political party, probably the youngest female to ever hold the position of president in a political party. I know that the views that have been shared by the two powerful ladies are also coming your way. And I'm also aware that you have been a victim of some of the things that they have talked about. And now you have the big position. Uh, what should we expect from the media, especially knowing that you have been a victim before, and at the same time in a position where you must set example of female leadership and break the usual stereotype?
Is changing. Of course, Ruth did talk about the feature articles that come out every week, and the women are being featured. I've seen that with several newspapers, and they are doing a good job. You know, but of course, more needs to be done in terms of how the women are portrayed. You get the point. So this gender profiling in our media is very, very important. But I'd like to talk about two key issues again when it comes to media and how people are portrayed. Women are portrayed. Right now, we are in an era of social media, and most of our young people, most of our
Yeah.
women, most of our population is on social media. So we're not going to blame the media in terms of how they portray women. We also need to blame ourselves as a society, as political parties. How do our members respect or respond to women? That also is very, very important. You know, we need to also make sure that we do that from a political party level. You know, we need to talk to our members. You know, and then the other thing added to that is also the issue of women themselves. This also is related to social media. With social media, we do have a chance to portray ourselves the way we want to be portrayed. You know, I normally give an example of, let's say, music, the career where I'm coming from, my background, my first love, my passion. I always say that a long time ago, when we were singing, when an album comes out, you have to go to Majando, okay, or all those bus services, and you put your CDs on each and every bus to make sure that you transport your CDs to all these community stations across the country. But now you've got WhatsApp groups where musicians and DJs are. So artists have that opportunity. Most times when an upcoming artist comes to me and they say, I want you to help me out with my music and everything, I always ask them, are you on WhatsApp? No, I am not. Then I tell them, if you're not on WhatsApp, you fail to manage your own career. Because right now there are many groups who are going to find musicians and DJs. I can introduce you to the admins, they add you there. From there, communicate with the DJs. If they want to play your music, I'll come in and help you out. But if you don't have a phone with WhatsApp, you're disadvantaging yourself. Let's get back to politics. I normally say the same thing. Sometimes somebody's campaigning and they want to do something in related to politics. You ask them, are you on WhatsApp? They'll tell you no. You get the point. Artists, or rather politicians, be it female politicians, you ask them, are you on Facebook? They'll tell you no. And then you tell them, do you realize the opportunity you're missing by not being on Facebook? There are many people that are on Facebook right now. So women have to rebrand themselves. You get the point? So these are the opportunities that they have to utilize, Women right now need to be on social media, and they have that opportunity. In as much as the media may portray them in a certain way, they do have an opportunity to portray themselves in a manner that they want. I can tell you, for example, that there have been many quotes from me, where the media have had to go to my Facebook page and they got a story from my page. So you can't be a female politician. You get the point? Yeah. You can't be a female politician, and when you're on Facebook, all you talk about are jokes and the weather and how you're looking and everything. You have that opportunity. So to cut the long story short, the media has not really portrayed women very well. They even when they are covering issues, they want to cover women with lesser important issues in such a way that you have to find yourself on page 3 and page 4. So make yourself a page one, a page one politician. Talk about the economy. Talk about women issues. Talk about real issues that affect the country. That way, if a paper is going to quote you, they will quote you and they will see it fit to put you on page 1. So in as much as all this is happening, I think my encouragement are, one, the political parties need to be interested and talk to their members. So the media may portray women in a certain way, but the political parties are guilty of letting their cadres, for example, portray women and treat women in a certain way. And secondly, women themselves, we really, really have to portray ourselves, because with social media, trust me, there is a way that we can portray ourselves and also make sure that we always engage in issues that make us be where we're supposed to be, and like only talking about dresses and shoes and the weather and all those things.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Savoy. I think I love the part where you give the responsibility to political parties as well about how they portray their female candidate, because I believe this is not an individual problem, it's a society problem, and the society has got setups, and among them, for a country like Zambia, political parties are part of their setup as far as our democracy is concerned. So I'm going to ask this question, and I'm going to provide a sentence that I read from the international media supports that was written about women, and this was in 2019. So I'm going to read this short research that they did about the data they had that had to do with women and how they were portrayed in media. And I'll beg to get a reaction from Madam Ruth Dante Faced, but that's after I read this. So I'm going to quote them verbatim, and it says, the data we have shows that women only make 24% of persons read about or seen in the newspaper. television, radio, and the news. Even worse, 46% of news stories reinforce gender stereotype, while only 4% of the stories clearly challenge the gender stereotype. I'll read that again, and it says, women only make up 24% of persons' head read about, seen in newspaper, television, radio, and news. Even worse, 46% of news stories reinforce gender stereotype, while only 4% of the stories clearly challenge the gender stereotype. I'm throwing this question to Madam Ruth Dante. Seeing that political parties have a responsibility to play and seeing how women, especially those who are even attached to political parties, play, have the political parties done what is necessary to give this picture that the society should see about women?
Yeah. Hello. I hope I'm clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello?
can hear you.
Yes. Though I missed, I think some of the some of the statements, I couldn't get you clear. But what I want to say is that I hope I understood you clearly. What I want to say is that as political parties today, we are worried of the gender inequalities. We are worried of the number of women in local government as well as in parliament. I think we are aware that we have 17% of women in parliament against 83% of women in parliament. And the fact that we've got this 50 to 50 gender equality, I think you've seen that every political party is going towards that of trying to reach a 50 to 50. And if you see that some of the political parties, I will talk about UPNG, that has its own quota system during the time of our convention, so that we will try to increase the number of women in NMC, which is the governing body. But I want to say that we were not only increasing the number of women, but we were also looking at the competency that women had. We're also looking at the knowledge, the experience, and the skills that women had. And we realized that women really are competent enough. Women really can stand up, but they need a platform. Like Savoy said, though I beg to differ a bit when she talks about political parties to change their cadres. I think that is far from it. But I want to say that political parties have created a platform where women can stand up now and show their prowess and voice on issues that are affecting them. And we have seen that UPNG today has more than 30% in the national governing body, which is the NMC. And I want to say that you saw that we had women across many women across the country actually applying to become members of parliament. So you find that political parties are making a headway, because you are saying we are getting in government. And when we get in government, one of our aims will be to try to reduce the gender inequalities. And therefore, how are we going to reduce these gender inequalities? Is by having more women in parliament. Because women, the focus of women compared to men is different. If I give an example, when you have a bridge, or sorry, maybe a road, and you have a hospital and a school, the women will definitely point at hospital. The women will point at the school. While men can even point at a bridge, can point at a road, because all they look at themselves is how much am I going to get in. But women are interested in people living better lives. But they can spearhead that if they are in parliament. But what I want to say is that whilst political parties are making headways, and whilst we are seeing many women in Zambia wanting to become part of the decision-making process, especially in local government and parliament, the environment is hostile to them. Women love peace. Women want to be free to do what they want to be, what they want to do. Because women always, when we have a plan, when we have a project, when we have an activity, we always want to reach our goal. But I want to say that we can talk about women coming in, the media trying to encourage more women, or paint a good picture of women against the things that you have mentioned. The environment has contributed to women giving back. I'll tell you, people like Savoy, I think they'll know what I'm talking about. Many times you find that maybe your family could be watching you. Amid these cadres that are fighting, amid these cadres that are being beaten, amid members that are being tear gassed, and you are running, and you are female. Your family will say, no, but just come back home. Just come back home. You can get a job. So it will take a woman who is very courageous to say, no, I'm in. Whilst other women also that are courageous will join in. But the issue here is we don't need only courageous women. We need to create that platform where women are going to be free. So I want to say that the environment also matters, and that is where we need a political will, not just of making pronouncements, but of ensuring that the environment is conducive enough so that women feel free, so that women are supported by their husbands, so that women are supported by their families. I know the other things that you talked about media being so stereotyping and sexism. That is where sometimes you found men have said, no, I can't have you join politics because I would not want to hear things about you on media. I hope I understood and I answered the question correctly.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. But I'll still come back to you. Before Ruth joins in, I want to throw this question to Madam Savoy. As a leader of a political party, we've seen that in the past years, we've seen that political parties have been the perpetrators of portraying women as the people who sing, as the people who cook, as the people who prepare for events. Yet they have not spearheaded the agenda of women being leaders. What do we say? What do we say, especially when it comes to political parties? Where are we heading?
Well, first and foremost, I'm very happy that I'm a member of the Women in Politics platform, of which I am a chairperson of, and with the Women in Politics platform, which is an initiative of the Zambia Women's National Lobby. We have come together as 9 political parties in the country. Amongst the 9 parties are the UPND, the PF, the NDC, the ADD, UNIP, Rainbow, which other party did I forget? I think I did mention MMD already, but we are 9 political parties, and there we have resolved that we have to speak with one voice, because the issues that affect women in all political parties. When it comes to women issues, trust me, there's nothing that this is happening in UPND, it's happening in PF, it's happening in NDC. And then you keep your eyes closed. It's happening in all parties, it's happening to all women. And if it's not happening to you, you will know that it may happen to you sooner or later. So when we come together as women from all these political parties, we normally sit down and we say, how can we handle this and that issue? And with that, these are amongst the things that we've been talking about. How do we ensure that the women in the political parties are given their fair share, of the cake? You get the point. And with that, we've had workshops. Not only in Lusaka, we've traveled to Western Province, we've traveled to Central Province, where we've had a chance to meet women from the women's wings of all the 9 political parties that we've discussed, And the funny thing is this, Mumbi, when you ask the women to say, what is the role of the women's wing? What exactly do you do in your parties? They'll give you answers like, our role is to cook, our role is to go and sing, our role. The same things that you feel that women should not do, that's what they'll tell you that is their role. But thank God that after the workshops, they normally know what their roles are. And we tell them to.
Okay, I think Madam Savoy has been cut off. I believe that's a network problem on her side. So I'll let Ruth have a comment. I'll give a comment on this same question. Ruth, you have joined the political space and you have seen that political parties have been the major perpetrators of portraying women as dancers and everything else that we are trying to fight to achieve gender equality and a better perception of women, especially how they are portrayed on media, and seeing that media is now becoming a very powerful tool at setting the narrative about almost everything that we are experiencing in our society. Uh, Madam Dante said something very interesting, that let's not make this just be about pronunciations, but about the will. Are you seeing from your perspective as a young politician, are you seeing the will by political parties to see that women are portrayed in a better way than what they have been portrayed for the past years?
Yes, and unfortunately, as a young woman who is coming to the front face of politics and away from our youth activism as young politicians, I will say that ideally the media in Zambia does state that it strives for accuracy and impartiality, even in political parties. But in reality, there's an imbalance of this coverage in terms of women and their perspectives. Like Madame Dante had said, we've been glossing it on our lips, or it's more of like a lip service to show that we are being inclusive of women, um, or even youths like ourselves. But we need to see more action in this, even from the topmost people. You know, I continue to view women, especially in Zambia, even in political parties, um, have been made the people who do the decor when there's an event that's happening for a political party, or we are the choir, you know. But we, as long as women don't continue to stand up or even have fellow women who support them and continue to push for their rise as leaders, even in the ranks of their political parties, we are not going to see any change in the narrative of how we are portrayed as women. You know, it cannot take only Madam Ruth Dante to push the agenda for women in the United Party for National Development, UPND, but it will take a lot of people that support her vision, that she is a woman that is heading the media sector, but she'll need more women to come on board to help her. And the more women that come on board, even the young people that are journalists, can carry their skill and add it to their respective political parties. But should they continue to shun away and expect perhaps Madam Dante or Madam Savoy, because they are at the helm of a particular position, they've got so much on their plate already. But it takes a lot of other women supporting this, and not just only women. I also say that men also have a critical role to play in promoting women's leadership in the face of the media. You know, as we're approaching an electoral year, we've already noted that female politicians are underrepresented in the news before, after elections, even within our political parties. Have we seen any political party that's done, you know, profiles of who the emerging women are, who the emerging young women are? I would want to see more of that, and you know, it will begin to inspire even the people that are coming behind us. Even like myself, I'll start to see my fellow young women getting into the space that they call politics as a dirty game. And it begins from there. Even when we look at our traditional background in the rural areas, if we had more women being portrayed in the media, even when they watch as far north as Shangombo, be it on their TV, on their national television, that there's more women being promoted in each of their respective political parties, we'll start to change that mindset. We cannot wait for only one person to rise up, um, and we think that women have penetrated the space and that women now have a role in the media. It will take a lot of us to get onto onto the platform, create platforms for ourselves, and to speak up for ourselves so that we are included.
Great contribution there from Ruth. I hope Madam Dante is still with us. I'm hoping it's only my camera that can see what I'm seeing. I hope she's not disconnected. Uh, Madam Dante, Zambia has gone in a phase that is being called the new normal. Of course, I know it's not Zambia only, but the world at large. We are heading towards a pause in 3 months. Can the media be a dependable platform for women to air out their aspirations, as well as make it a platform where they can be able to share their views, especially the aspiring candidates like Madam Ruth Kangwa here? Can we depend on the media? I'm not sure if Madam Ruth Dante can get me. Okay, so I'll just try to reconnect her. Meanwhile, I'll leave the question to you, Ruth. We've gone in the new normal as the world at large, and we know that media is going to be the new platform that we may end up to use. Can we count the Zambian media as a dependable factor in these coming general elections, especially when it comes to promoting the views of women, especially the aspiring candidates? We know that coverage will come in handy. Can we depend on the media?
I'll start with the new normal question just to briefly gloss over it, and to state that as we have entered the new normal of COVID-19 times, and how we'll have lessened interaction with the grassroots, I will state that the new normal has brought a different shift. But when we look at the Zambian environment and how conducive social media will be, it's going to be 50-50 for the people that are in the urban and that can access, you know, phones or social media to catch up. It will be good for them, and it will be unfortunate that people, like I keep saying, as far as Dudu Mwezi, as Shangombo, or even Isoka Rural, that cannot access some of these platforms, it's unfortunate that they'll be cut off, and it will not be an effective platform for them to be able to see that the media is playing a role in promoting or reducing gender inequality. Another thing is that in this election of 2021, as we are building up to it, I will note that political players will need to really utilize the public platforms on social media. We do not, it's not effective, like I have said, because some people come from the most rural part, but to reach out to get the public opinion and to be able to interact with the people, social media will come in very handy. Two, I have always said that social media is a powerful tool, depending on how we use it. You know, as we're building up into an election year, and I will tell you this, just from the front face of it, we've seen a lot of false information glossing around and flying around. So even in terms of promoting, when we look at the woman's lens, sometimes this social media can be negative towards them because it degrades them because of the particular image that they've portrayed for themselves on social media. It may become disadvantageous for them, even as they campaign, because people will tend to now dig out old posts that they made and all sorts of things. Also, I really believe that in this new normal, Zambia will have to be very careful. You know, in the few days before or after the election or the voting, as we wait for the results, you will notice that it may just take one person spreading false information, and that may cause chaos or disruption in the country. So how we use them, how we use the media and its role in our leadership space is one that should be handled very carefully. And sorry, going back to your second question of how you asked if the media will be helpful in promoting women who will be standing or their candidature, I will say that Madam Ruth Dante and Madam Saboy Mboela had stated earlier on that we have seen female journalists being intentional about covering women, but we need to see more even from the male counterparts. You know, our media industry is generally dominated by a lot of males in it, even as far as the heads of the director generals, the boards of some of these media institutions. But it will take a lot from our male counterparts to ensure that they are promoting more women, more young women, more youth um, in these media spaces, and it will help a lot.
Okay, Ruth. Those are very important points that you've raised. I want us to respond to some of the comments that our viewers have shared with us. I'll start with an interesting comment that I saw from. Let me just find the interesting gentleman's comment from this comment here. That's coming from Nakweti, and he says something very important, and can you see the comment on your side, or should I read it out for you? So he's
You can
saying
read it out.
he's watching us from, yeah, he's watching us from Shangombo. We have a role to promote leadership among women. But as women, especially those seeking political leadership, mind the things you post on media, because those things will be used against you too. The media do not have a problem with women, but women worry a lot about how they will be perceived than what they will deliver. I like the fact that a lot of women are standing well educated than men. True, women also, please, especially youth, let's have interest in reading. So Nakweti talks about three things that are usually raise public debates when it comes to the discussions of women, the media, and their involvement in governance. I would love to hear your reaction to this comment.
In analyzing this comment, I want to start with the key one that stood out for me, which he talks about um, how women, especially those seeking political leadership, must mind the things that they post on media. I
Mm.
am one who advocates for women to be able to have the freedom of expression, but this expression should never be able to be, it shouldn't be one that infringes on people's rights. Like he's mentioning, we come from an African setup of culture of respect. We cannot want to see a woman who's vying for office posting her nudes or in a wrong type of setting in terms of her clothing or what she wears on social media. You know, we live in a society that also looks at how you dress. So it's very critical back to the Zambian scene in which what he's saying is correct, that women must mind the things that they post on media, not just with their pictures, but even how they portray themselves with their message, what they preach online, the conversations and discussions that they engage in. We've seen a lot of focus in Zambia on socialites, no names mentioned. I'm sure some will come to your name, where we even focus and putting so much attention on them because they make a little comment or what they post or expose of their bodies. But this does not encourage the young woman to even want to engage herself in leadership, because she thinks, I've done this before. How would the public portray me? What are the comments I'll receive and the insults? Thirdly, it talked about how the media does not have a problem with women, but women worry a lot how they'll be perceived than what they'll deliver. Unfortunately, my brother from Shangombo, Nakweti, you cannot blame a woman who has to first think of how she looks, how she's presenting herself. It's because of how society has created us to ensure that we're perfect first before we go out in the public and make noise. You have to ensure that you've got a clean trail before you jump into something. So it's we're in a bit of a balance to look at. I want to deliver, I want to serve the people, I want to serve the community, but they already have this preconceived negative perception about a woman already when they see a woman stand. I will tell you that I am a young woman who is penetrating the political space, and just by standing, I had people who mentioned comments to state that you're a young woman. Go. You're supposed to be in the kitchen. You're supposed to be cooking. You're supposed to be cleaning. Now, Nakweti, when you say that women have to worry about these preconceptions, I have to first think of how am I portraying myself. I have to show them the capacity that I can lead people, regardless of being young, regardless of being a woman. So it's a bit difficult for me to agree with that part. And the last thing you said, women also, please, especially youths, let's have interest in reading. I agree to that. Readers are leaders. We are where we are today, and we're able to speak, even like Madam Ruth Dante, to handle such a big portfolio such as media, because we're able to express ourselves because of continuous reading, continuous learning. I think I'll end there because Madam Ruth Dante has joined back in, and you're able to throw back her question.
Okay, Madam Ruth, and welcome back. I still have a question for you that you left. I was asking to say, we are in the new normal globally, and unfortunately, we still have to respect the constitution and hold our elections in the next 3 months. Seeing that we must observe the rules of the new normal, can media be a dependable factor? Women's coverage, especially seeing that they are vying for these positions, can it be a dependable factor?
That you have, I'm happy that you've asked that. I think what it is that we are living in the new normal. Well, I may say the new normal vis-a-vis COVID-19, and also another new normal, sorry to say, which could be violence, especially like now.
Yeah.
So because of these two things, I find that the media actually is the only campaign space which women have access to. A woman in the studio, especially community radio stations. I know that Madam Savoy talked about you need to have a page, you need to be on social media, but remember that the number of women, the number of the majority of people that are illiterate are us women, and most of the women do not have access, or rather are not literate enough to use social media, use Facebook page or Twitter. Me and Savoy can, but we are also looking at a woman who is in the rural, a woman who, despite not being a computer literate, is able to stand up and present the issues that are affecting women, and talk about the things that they would want government to do to them. So I feel that such a platform as media is really the only platform that a woman can use. And that is why I was saying that it is very, very important for media, like you have done, to create deliberate spaces where we as women can come and talk about issues without looking at Savoy, Big NBC, without looking at my namesake Ruth being a young politician who is coming from another, but all of us are speaking as women, voicing out on issues that are affecting us. So I am saying media, especially community radio stations, are very, very important to women. Why? Because the radio stations are within the vicinity where women are able to reach them. And that is where I am saying, I think Savoy will agree with me that whilst community radio and media is the only space that can allow women to voice out, show what they're capable of doing, let their voice be heard, show how aggressive they are, and how they want their issues addressed. The media again, whilst I'm saying it is the only platform, the media in Zambia is not free. When we look at issues, if you see Ruth Dante is going on the media to talk about us, I will definitely talk about issues that are affecting us. I'll talk about poverty. I'll talk about how women now are going to the hospitals, carrying their own plastics, their own whatever. That is what I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about women not being able to live a proper life because that woman will have to wake up very early in the morning to go and get water. After getting water, the woman will be on the streets to sell some methods in order to take care of the family, sometimes even starting from a man. The question is, how can media to cover negative issues? We have seen that sometimes certain media that would allow us to talk about such issues are tagged as being anti-government. We have seen radio stations that have allowed voices that are so much on demands, on problems, being threatened with their licenses to be withdrawn. And these are the issues that it is very good actually that we have Madam Jocelyn as the head of IBA, because it is IBA that give licenses. It is IBA that sometimes has threatened the closure of radio stations. So you find that again, even if the journalists would want to bring women from the opposition and from the ruling party as one woman, because of the fact they're going to come out journalists may be tagged as being anti. Now I am saying
Okay, I think we're having another connection problem with Madam Dante there, but she raises some very serious concerns that we still have not addressed, especially as a country. We understand that we are in the era of politics that are more attached to political parties than the cause. We have seen how certain radio stations have been attacked because the individual that is there is from the opposition or is not from a favored is not from a favored party of the individuals in that particular region. Madam Savoy, I want you to give an answer to this question. You are in the opposition. And we know that currently there is a lot of defense towards political parties, and there is defense to the freedoms of individuals. We know that more likely we may face these challenges, and the women may not be out of this calculation when we begin to count the number of people that may be attacked. Uh, I wanted to answer this question from an opposition point of view. Can we depend on the media for women's coverage this election, looking seeing that we're in the new norm and we must observe it?
Very well, and also just some individuals that are doing very well. But you find that the way the media is reporting, I don't know if it's our society that has become so militant, or it's our politics that have become so militant, but the media are also gravitating towards that. They want to see fights. For them reporting, they want to see two, three parties are fighting each other. So that's the kind of drama that they report about in the media. So you find that the women normally won't even be found in such. So 99% they'll be reporting about those men that are involved in that. And even the women, if they're going to report about the women, they also have to come in into those fights. And I've been complaining about one thing, by the way, which we've been very silent on as a nation. It's an issue of the media getting into the political rings. The media is a fourth estate. When the politicians are fighting, we should see the media as a referee, the media as a neutral place where they should actually try as much as possible to resolve conflicts. But what is happening with our media these days is that they are into the ring as well. They get into the rings, and sometimes you don't know who's fighting who between the two political opponents or the media station and one or two of those opponents from the opposing sides. So that's sadly the kind of reporting that is there. So if you look at what has distracted many things, like including the gender or women representation, it's all this kind of narrative that is there that the media wants to portray. So for us, I think we do have a big responsibility to play as a country. If you look at the case of Rwanda, it's mainly the media that even gravitated the situation the way it was to that kind of level. When something could have gone to the left, the media helped it to go to the right. The media perpetuated the situation to make it what it was. So the media does have a very, very big role to play. And we should be very careful as the media in the country. So for me, really, it's more than the media looking at women reporting, but how their role is to help build a country. No wonder even in democracy, they say that for democracy to flourish, you need a free, fair, and responsible media. How does the media become responsible? They need to understand their role very, very well, And democracy also, there can't be democracy without women participation. In Zambia, we do have over 51% of the population being women. So meaning that the women are the majority in this country. So if you're going to talk about democracy, the reason why you and I, all of us here, the two Ruthies are here tonight talking about women representation is because we know that it's not only a gender agenda or just something to be politically correct. When we're going to talk about democracy, we need to ensure that if the women are more than 51% in the country, they can't stay back and be misrepresented. Every time we talk about women being, let's say, 16% in parliament, 17%. So when we talk about women being 16% in parliament, what we're basically saying is that the rest of the 84% are the men. So if you look at it from that point of view, to say 84% of them are men, that is when it looks so bad. So what does the media need to do now? We've been to countries where there's that gender balance, and you realize that women being in parliament, women being in government, and women being in this whole good political elective positions, it's not just a matter of gender balance, but they bring in a woman's perspective to the table. They bring in something which is different. I think Ruth did attribute to that earlier on. If I, as a woman, I'm going to be on radio, I'm going to be on TV, or I'm going to be on the ground, or even in parliament, trust me, the issues I'm going to tackle will be different from that of a man. I always give an example of a road. A man will look at a road and he'll say, on this road, if it's going to be okay, I'm going to transport my goods from point A to point B. I'm going to make sure that my nice car, my new car, is going to move nicely from this point and to that point. But for me as a woman who's been in labor and been moved on a bad road, when I look at a bad road, trust me, I remember when I was in labor and I was being moved from this place to that place, and how painful labor is on a bumpy road. It's an experience you don't want to think about. So when I look at that road, apart from the goods that a man will think about, or Micah, if I'm driving a very good car, apart from that, trust me, my thoughts to go an extra mile, and I say, okay, I don't see a woman moving on this road. You get the point? So our perspectives are different. So it's that we need to bring to the table to ensure that there's that balance in parliament, in councils, and in state house.
Okay, very powerful submission. I've reflected a comment here from from your cousin, Madam Savoy, they are bragging to say them at the Kandambo headquarters. They believe that the media's role in promoting women's leadership is in form of transmitting information and images that tell a story, which controls a narrative that women can lead. They have led before successfully and are willing to take upon their shoulders the leadership roles with integrity and tenacity, protecting people's interests. That's a very powerful bragging comment from your cousin, Madam Savoy there. But we have to close. We are out of time by 2 minutes. In your closing remarks, Ruth, Madam Savoy, also hold on to this question because you will answer it immediately after Ruth. I would love to ask for what recommendations would you want to give to the media and put it together with your closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of what I would want to recommend to the media, sorry, I was trying to read this comment about from Axon Kapopo. Anyway, some of the recommendations to the media, especially from print media, news, radio, TV, as we're heading towards the polls, we need to be very intentional about having gender lens or more gender perspective, especially on the women in terms of their promotion for leadership. I will have to comment a bit briefly to touch on this that for me as a young lady in the political scene, I am not inspired to see what kind of headlines I see of our gogos, like we call them, or our older ladies, our mothers who are in the political scene. They are denting the image of what a woman's capability is to lead and to assist the nation at large. So, in our closing remarks, I believe we all have a role to play, whether men or women, in promoting the role of the media in the political space, in the governance space. We need to be very intentional about how we include women, be it young women. And like Madam Ruth Dante had said, it will be very critical. I'm sure that was a good kadiongo for the political parties that want to promote women that will be adopted, that they utilize radio stations. Not everyone has got social media like in the urban areas. It's only a small minority that can reach out to the participations that are happening through social media and the campaigns. I think I'll conclude for here, seeing as we ran out of time, and leave it to Madam Savoy.
I think in conclusion, I'd like to say that women really have to keep on sticking together, because what affects me affects another woman, affects all the other women. So we are in this together, whether we like it or not. So we really need to do that. And then the issue also of social media, I'd like to re-emphasize that, because the sad part is this: when you go to the rural areas have got their own way of communication. So the same women who don't have social media, even their audience, they don't have social media. Okay, they don't read newspapers. So you may say that the media here need to cover the women so that the people in the rural areas read, or they hear the news and everything. But you'll be shocked that when you go there, their form of communication is totally different. So the women that are here that have that advantage, they need to utilize that. And the women that are out there, in terms of the other forms of communication that we do when we go to rural areas, be it by using traditional leaders, by doing door-to-door kind of communication, they are also one that I said you need to really talk to the political parties as well. The way the political parties treat our women is not okay. So the media has portrayed this picture that it is okay to do certain things to women. So when they go out there, it becomes an accepted way of behavior. So it starts with us. Let's ensure that what we are doing from within our political parties is something which is safe for women. Let's create a safe space for women. I think it was Ruth or yourself, Mumbi, who talked about that earlier on. Let's create a safe space for women on cyberspace and on the ground. It's very, very important. When the place is safe for women, then the women are going to flourish. We do have different forms of communication. If you're in the rural areas, or form of communication is totally different. Urban areas, and this also the issue of community radio stations. It's very hard these days to have one kind of a message and then you reach all the other places. You'll find that what you need to do in Lusaka may be different with what you need to do on the Copper Belt. And I'm sure some of you have actually seen a situation whereby the songs, when you're in Lusaka right now, the kind of songs which are hit songs are different. You go to Copper Belt, you think you're going to another country. There are different kinds of different kinds of hit songs, and you're wondering, okay, which song is this one? Did it come out? When you go to Western Province, my place, there, oh my goodness, there is actually totally different. You know, you go to Southern Province again. So we've reached that level whereby wherever you are, even in terms of places which do have a TV and radio, communication has become so segmented in this country. So in all these various places, let's ensure that the kind of communication which is there, we still create that safe space for women so that all women who feel comfortable want to join politics and want to campaign freely, so that everybody else looks at a woman as a woman and not all these different connotations that come in with a women political leadership.
Thank you very much, Madam Savoy. This has been a very interesting conversation. I cannot go without highlighting some of the important things that we have gotten from this conversation. And one of them is that for democracy to thrive, the media will play a very big role. And the media being a tool in which we are going to be using from now and probably forever, as we know technology is evolving. We must find a way in which the media is able to balance the gender coverage, especially in this year for a country like Zambia, which is having its elections. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in. This has been the platform, and the topic of discussion today was the role of media in promoting women's leadership. The platform is a program brought to you by PATS with support from the CISA. We'll see you again next Wednesday, same time, same place. Ruth and Madam Savoy, thank you for joining us, and everybody have a good night.